Picture this: the trusted neighbor who babysat your girls, warm smiles, bedtime stories, hides a dark obsession. She wants to erase your 15-year-old daughter completely and take her place. Not just copying her look, stealing her identity, memories, friends, future, wiping the real girl out forever. The person you let in might plan to become your daughter and make sure the original never returns. In 1999, Melbourne, a graceful ballet prodigy named Rachel Barber, waved goodbye to her classmates on an ordinary evening and vanished forever. Her disappearance peeled back a horrifying conspiracy masked by kindness, and it all started at that deserted train station. Hey, if you're still here and this real case has you hooked, drop a like right now. It really helps share these true stories with more people. Rachel came from a picture-perfect family. Her dad designed toys, her mum wrote children's books, and her grandfather was a celebrated Australian children's author. Growing up in that creative, nurturing world, she was disciplined and mature beyond her years. She discovered ballet at age 7 and never stopped practicing. After junior high, she chased her dream and transferred to the prestigious Richmond Dance School to focus fully on ballet. With her striking talent and beauty, Rachel even landed a part-time modeling gig. To her family and teachers, she was nothing short of a prodigy. On Monday, March 1st, 1999, her father Mike dropped her off at the train station as usual, promising to pick her up at 6:15 p.m. sharp. But that evening, Mike arrived early. He waited as the crowd thinned out and eventually vanished. Yet Rachel never appeared. Mike rushed home, only to find Rachel had never made it back. A wave of dread swept over the family. They called the police right away, but the officer's response crushed them. To the police, 15 was prime runaway age. She had her backpack, her modeling savings, and every sign screamed runaway, no case needed. No matter how desperately the parents insisted Rachel was mature, responsible, and would never disappear without a word, the police wouldn't budge. They even tried to reassure them, she'll run out of money eventually and come home on her own. With no help from authorities, Mike and his wife were left to search alone. They printed missing person flyers overnight and plastered them across every street and corner. Neighbors and volunteers stepped up too, joining the search out of kindness. But days turned into weeks, and Rachel remained gone, vanished without a trace. As public pressure mounted, the police finally took it seriously and opened an official investigation. In a corner of Rachel's desk, they discovered a cryptic note in her handwriting. Station, go see Manny, 50 to 80 Australian dollars, 3 special things. Manny was Rachel's boyfriend. They'd met modelling part-time, clicked instantly, and she'd always been open with her parents about him. The note only deepened the mystery. What did it mean? What was the 50 to 80 Australian dollars for? And what were those 3 special things? What enraged Rachel's parents even more was the police's baseless theory. They suggested the money and items might be tied to drugs, hinting Rachel was in some shameful trouble. They even told the couple, "You should focus on protecting your other 2 daughters." The cruel speculation felt like a second wound. When police finally tracked down Manny, he was frantic. He hadn't heard from Rachel in days either. Investigators cleared Manny of any wrongdoing, but he shared a crucial clue. That afternoon, Rachel had been thrilled about landing a new, high-paying part-time job. She said she'd use the money for a $100 pair of high heels, but refused to say anything more about the gig. This mysterious job became the investigation's main focus. Yet after digging, police confirmed all her savings came from legitimate modelling work, and her background was spotless. Her parents had never heard a word about it either. One theory after another fell apart, and the case hit a wall. With no leads left, police turned to Rachel's classmates for fresh clues. They recalled how unusually excited she was that day, buzzing about a big money plan. No matter how much they pressed, she wouldn't spill any details, only promising, "I'll tell you all tomorrow." Tomorrow? The day after she vanished. Doesn't that suggest she had every intention of coming back? So what was this mysterious high-paying opportunity? And why keep it secret, even from her boyfriend? From classmates' accounts, police pieced together Rachel's last day. That morning, she excitedly told friends she'd found a way to make serious money. In the afternoon, she casually mentioned the job to Manny. During a break, she asked a classmate for a ride to Bridge Road to meet an old female friend, but after school, she changed her mind and decided to go alone. That evening, a classmate spotted her one last time on Chapel Street. The classmate offered to walk together. Rachel declined. After that, she vanished completely. Police rushed to Bridge Road for answers, but no one had seen her. Rachel was strikingly beautiful. If she'd been there, someone would have noticed. So did she, and this mysterious old friend never even make it to Bridge Road. Who was this woman, and why has she never come forward? Rachel's parents racked their brains. They knew her circle inside out. There was no old female friend in Richmond or anywhere who could offer a high-paying gig like that. Clearly something or someone convinced Rachel to keep the meeting secret and go alone. She thought it was a big break for easy money. She had no idea it was a deadly trap. A week after she vanished, a tip line call changed everything. It came from Alison, an old dance classmate. She said she'd spotted Rachel that evening in Prahran, walking with a slightly older, heavier-set woman. The two seemed close, talking quietly. They got off the bus together and melted into the crowd, never to be seen again. This new sighting completely shattered the police's runaway theory. They'd been searching in the wrong direction all along. Prahran was roughly 3 kilometers from school. For Rachel and the woman to meet there, they must have arranged it ahead of time. But Rachel didn't own a mobile phone. Her only way to communicate was the family landline. So how did they secretly set the time and place without her parents knowing? Police pulled the call records from the home phone and found the smoking gun. The night before Rachel disappeared, a 15-minute call came in from Prahran. Her parents were busy with chores that evening, so Rachel clearly answered it herself. That high-paying job was almost certainly finalized right then. They traced the number straight to an apartment in Prahran, registered to a woman named Carolyn Robertson. Police traced the number straight to an apartment in Prahran, registered to Carolyn Robertson. When Rachel's mother heard the name, she froze in shock. Carolyn was only 4 years older than Rachel. The two families once lived on the same street and were close. Rachel's parents had even hired Carolyn as a babysitter to look after Rachel and her 2 younger sisters. Everyone knew that after Carolyn's parents divorced, she lived with her mother and struggled with mental instability. Rachel's mom had once gently suggested therapy, but Carolyn refused outright. On March 12th, the 11th day since Rachel vanished, police raided Carolyn's apartment in Prahran. They forced the door open and found her collapsed unconscious on the bedroom floor. She was rushed to the hospital. A thorough search of the place turned up something horrifying: application forms for a new birth certificate in Rachel's name. There was also a bank loan application signed Rachel Barber, the handwriting an eerily perfect imitation. Carolyn's plan was obvious: erase her own identity and step fully into Rachel's life. But despite tearing the apartment apart, officers found no trace of Rachel. Was she still alive? Every lead now hinged on the unconscious woman in the hospital bed. Doctors later confirmed Carolyn had suffered an epileptic seizure and blacked out. Police traced Carolyn's movements. The day after Rachel vanished, she showed up for work on time, but looked ghostly pale and completely off. After her shift, she called in sick, locked herself in the apartment, and stayed there until police forced the door. Inside, they found her diary, pages that laid bare a deeply disturbed mind. From childhood, Carolyn had hated her own appearance and body. In high school, depression and crippling social anxiety took hold. After her parents' divorce at 16, isolation consumed her. Watching Rachel's perfect life fueled jealousy that slowly twisted into pure hatred. She became convinced if Rachel disappeared, she could simply become her. The diary's final pages spelled out the murder plan in chilling detail. The next day in the hospital, Carolyn woke up, confronted with overwhelming evidence. She calmly confessed everything and revealed exactly where Rachel's body was hidden. The location Carolyn revealed, her father's farm, 60 kilometers outside Melbourne. Police raced there and uncovered Rachel's body buried in fresh soil beside the family pet cemetery. Forensic results confirmed she died from suffocation the exact night she vanished. In her confession, Carolyn laid out the full horror. She phoned Rachel's home, exploiting the girl's trust by inventing a psychology study, paying $100. She insisted on total secrecy. Innocent and eager, Rachel agreed to meet, never suspecting it was a one-way trip to death. That evening, March 1st, Rachel followed Carolyn back to her apartment. Carolyn slipped drugs into her drink. When Rachel became dizzy and helpless, Carolyn ended her life. She hid the body in a wardrobe, then 2 days later drove it to the farm and buried it beside the pet cemetery. In the days that followed, Carolyn forged Rachel's signature and even called her parents pretending to be worried, fishing for updates to cover her tracks. But the stress proved too much. A severe epileptic seizure landed her unconscious and exposed the entire plot. When the truth hit, Rachel's parents shattered. 2 weeks later, they held her funeral. Manny, classmates, volunteers, all came to say goodbye. The ballet prodigy's life ended at just 15. The case soon went to trial. Carolyn's defense argued for leniency, citing her long battle with depression. Prosecutors presented Carolyn's diary as damning evidence. Her mind was sharp, her goals crystal clear. It was premeditated murder all along. In the end, she was convicted and sentenced to 20 years, with no parole for at least 14.5. What's truly sickening, during her time behind bars, Carolyn showed zero remorse for Rachel. Instead, she obsessively worked out, slimmed down, and reshaped her appearance, step by step morphing into the girl she'd killed. In 2013, she qualified for parole, but Rachel's parents fought hard and got it denied. She wasn't released until 2015, even after prison. In interviews, no apologies, just complaints about how public outrage ruined her family's life. Carolyn believed that if Rachel vanished, she could simply step into her life. She was dead wrong. She could steal an identity and copy an appearance, but never Rachel's talent, her kindness, or the love her family and boyfriend still carry for her. This tragedy born of pure jealousy is a stark warning. Envy is the darkest force inside us. It warps the mind, destroys innocent lives, and in the end consumes the person who fed it. The real path forward? Celebrate others' light and embrace your own flaws. That's the truest way to live. And if you want more detailed fact-based true crime cases like this one, subscribe now so you catch every new one. Turn on notifications too. We drop them regularly.